Namaste and welcome, everybody. Welcome to another Wednesday Live. Today, live is about freedom. So, let's see what freedom means to you and I, because freedom can be looked at from many different branches, right? So, when I say for freedom or the intention arises within me that I want to feel free, what does that mean exactly? Am I looking for financial freedom? Am I looking for soul freedom? What am I talking about? So basically, today we're going to clarify what freedom for me and for you is. Freedom is the time when I ask myself the most important question, which is what? Who am I? When I start asking myself 100 times during the day, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? The minute I ask myself, who am I? There is a knowing arises within me that I am not my thoughts, I am not my mind, I am not my ego, I'm not my emotion, I am not my baggages, I'm not my wounds. When all the layers of ego is being seen and released one by one. So let's dive in for a few seconds. The dark night of the soul. Have you guys experienced the dark night of the souls? Please let me switch to the comments so I can read your comments. Have you guys ever experienced the dark night of the soul? What happens in the dark night of the soul? Basically, this is the time that we are seeing our ego very vividly, very clearly. And this might happen to you intentionally, it might happen to you not intentionally, it might happen to you when you're under psychedelics. However, this space of dark night of the soul is being experienced when become when I become fully awake and conscious. Then I start to see the whole identity that's been created, whatever comes after I am, it's not me, it's the false me. So whatever shows up after I am Sudhi Burnett, I am Sudguru, I'm a spiritual leader, I am emotional, I am this or that. Whatever arises after that, I am is the ego. So the dark night of the soul, for me, the experience has happened many, many times. And you are probably aware that the experience of dark night of the soul might repeatedly repeat itself over and over again. But basically, this is what comes up, that I finally wake up to the truth, not to get tricked by my ego anymore. And I start seeing every layer of my ego. It is in that time that we experience and feel a lot of pain, loneliness, because every shadow aspects will show up, and I'm seeing how my ego is being afraid, my ego is shaking and hanging on and holding on to those images, to all of those aspects of who I am. If I have known and experienced myself as someone with OCD or ADHD, which has been come to my awareness in my earliest year, and I'm still very, very aware of it when I am going through the dark night of the soul. And the part of OCD which is underneath it, the perfectionism, and the underneath the perfectionism is the message of I am not enough. When that starts gathering and it start becoming like there is this full whole energy that's hitting this entitlement, this part of the shadow, the ego is screaming and yelling and it's holding on to it so tight. So therefore, everything, every aspect of my ego, every aspect of my wounds will show up one by one. And it's a very scary place. Maybe dark, maybe sad, is full of emotions, but at that time is that we do go through all of this feeling. For instance, I don't know how many of, probably all of us by now know about Carl Jung, right? So when we hear the story of Carl Jung, um, he was a psychologist that changed the whole world of psychology. And then he became, at the young age, he lost his father. I believe he was 20 years old when Carl Jung lost his father. And then Freud became his father. He went to Freud, and Freud hold him under his wings, and they start working together for a long time. And Carl Jung start looking, replacing his lost dad with Freud. But after many, many years, Carl Jung started questioning a lot of Freud's theories, because he realized that Freud was very hooked. He looked at this lens that all of our actions and reactions was sexual. It was coming from the depressed part of this. And then he started to question that. And then he contemplate on this for a while, because he knew if he's going to express his feeling towards Freud, which in my opinion didn't totally worked on his own ego, and he had so much attachment. Carl Jung knew if he's going to express his feeling and confront Freud that a lot of your theories are outdated and it needs upgrading, Freud will get offended. And after contemplating for a while, he took that chance and he told Freud. And you know the rest of the story, what happened? Freud, because of the influence that he had in psychology, and he was the beginner of all these psychology movements and all of his theory, start blocking Jung from his life. And it that was a time when I believe it was World War I, and Jung went into his silence for a while, which always this dark night of the soul, when we're going through this transformation and awakening, we feel this deep depression. I didn't experience that. I was one of the lucky ones, but I think the majority of us, we go through that state that we feel very depressed, and we start questioning everything about ourselves, that who we are, who am I. And by seeing all of these layers of identities, by seeing all of these layers of dramas and traumas and baggages that we been carrying on years after years after years, we start to go through losing ourselves. Because who are we after all? We are the collection of our identities, true or false. So when we're starting to release our identity, we feel lost. We don't know who we are anymore or who we should be. And the ego will try right away although it's very hard to drop and release a part of ourselves, but also the ego wants to replace it right away with something else. Because as you and I know by now, ego is never about letting go. Why can't we let go of grudges? Why are we holding on to grudges for so long? Is because of the aspect of our ego, right? So the ego, for ego to release something, the ego itself is going through so much pain, suffering, right? So the ego wants doesn't like an empty space, while me and you are consciously looking to become nothing and to release everything for our new expansion. That those time becomes very terrifying. Why? Because the ego is still active and the ego doesn't want to lose anything. And the ego, as I often been saying, the intention of mind and ego is not for us to wake up, because the minute you and I wake up, that's the death of ego. And our ego knows that very well. So the ego doesn't want to lose anything. The ego doesn't want to give us that empty space, because the minute this happens, the ego doesn't have the power anymore. So the ego is constantly fighting to stay in power. So, anyhow, even Carl Jung, when he went through months of that state of dark night of the soul, he finally found himself again. And he came back much stronger. But one of the things that I know about Carl Jung is that he didn't want to be center of attention. What does that tell us? He wasn't after fame. He wasn't really looking to be known and seen. And funny enough, this is the part when we start working on ourselves, when that awakening is happening to us. For me, it was like I came out and I felt that nobody was out there that vibrationally, energetically, consciously was matching with me at the time. So when this happened, when we go through all of this stuff, we come out and then we realize that, oh, the people who are around us don't know who we are. They do not accept us. And as we see, our loved ones, our families, or the majority of time are actually the one who are working against us. But then again, you and I are aware that if I wake up and I come out and I see nobody is out there that I can communicate with or to understand me or whatever, we also can have this awakening that everybody is doing and playing the right role. Whatever I see on the outside, which I don't like, whatever role that other people are playing, I am fully aware that there is nothing wrong with that. And it's not my job to want to wake up anybody else. It is not my job to force my awakening or the downloads or the lessons to someone else. And it was at that time that I never tried to convince my family about how I have changed. And I'm not the person that they used to know. And is all of a sudden it was like a lot of friends, families has gone drop down, because suddenly I realized that the friends that I used to gossip with, they're not interesting to me anymore. Then you start seeing right through other people, not with a lens of judgment, but seeing very clearly what role are they playing. And we know that these roles are divinely planned. Therefore, it is not my place to force them to awaken. Are you guys with me? So, this awakening state is you feel that your people are dropping right and left from your life, and you are aware that this is divine intention. Whoever vibrationally not matching the level of your consciousness will drop. And by being alone, for me, it didn't translate as sadness or depression, which a lot of time could happen, that other people read us wrong. And that became my intention, to live alone, to be in silence as much as I could. And I never cared about whatever stickers, my family included, telling me that I'm a loner and I lost my mind, or what am I doing? And oh, you're depressed. You should go and see a psychiatrist. It didn't matter what their opinion was. The only thing that mattered was for me to realize that I have awakened. And I celebrated that, because it was the state of not being attached anymore. Now, the good news is awakening, becoming conscious, it's not a permanent state, right? So today, I see myself constantly. I am conscious because I know and I'm aware that the ego never dies. It doesn't matter how enlightened you become, the ego does not die. The difference is that you see the existence of ego, you're really aware how this magnificent machine, as we call our mind, and the production, the constant production of thoughts, it's not bothersome to me anymore. I see the activity of the mind, but if I'm after freedom, I give my mind also the freedom to do its job. Do you guys hear me? So please write this down. Our goal in life after awakening is not to kill the ego, to have a bad relationship with the ego, to shame the ego. Our goal is to understand that I also have to give the freedom for ego to exist. And is our goal to understand that the mind, the thinking machine, as I call it, has also the freedom of existence. And my only goal at this moment is to allow the mind to create its thoughts, but I no longer have any interest to engage in the mind. And for me, after all these years being a spiritual leader, my task, my daily task, is no different than you guys. Because the minute I close my eyes in a second, a splash of a second, I can go back in a deep sleep. The reason I keep saying the practice of thought cut silence is a 24 hours job. From the time that I become awake till the day I go, I do that myself. That's why I say the task of seeing the ego, what role is showing, what faces is showing me, is a 24 hours task. And in my book, many years ago, Awakening Not Allowed, I talked about that. I said spirituality is never an end of something. Spirituality means I have chosen to be the student of life forever, right? So I never graduate actually from this school. The Earth School, as we call it, a part of this Earth School is being in touch with our ego, seeing our ego, just not identifying with any of his identities or aspects as myself, and being a student in in planet Earth is constantly to know that the mind is functioning like anything else. The mind is just like, I keep telling you guys, is just like a washing machine, right? You pour your clothes in there, you throw your clothes in there, and you let the machine to do its job. Your job is not to constantly go and stop its function. The mind is the same thing. We cannot kill the mind. We cannot destroy the mind. It's for us when we become conscious, we're giving the freedom to the mind to create its thoughts, and we just not choose to engage with them. So when my mind start chatting, and my mind comes to me and telling me a story. For instance, I told you I did a reels about this while back. One day I was walking. I love walking and I love nature because I know nature is where our true nature also sits. Our soul is resonating with nature. And when I know that and I go to nature, not only the healing process is happening, but I see everything that exists in nature as a conscious being, a conscious tree that can have conversation with me, a conscious flower that has a story. So when I'm conscious, I understand that everything else is conscious. Even the stone is conscious and has consciousness, right? So in that day, as I was going for my walk, my mind grabbed my attention. You probably heard this story, but I'm going to say it anyway again. Sometimes the story needs to keep repeating for us to remember that. So my mind said, if every day, like the meter on your car, you set me on zero. Zero means what? You know, some of the car dealers, I know they used to do that before. I don't know if they are still doing it or not. When they want to cheat a customer, they play around with the meter and they move it around, or they will bring it to lower thing. So my mindset, what if every single day you would set me on zero? And I said, wow, that was fantastic. Yes, meaning that my mind was telling me, if every single day you put me on zero, that means there is no past anymore. There is no past stories, dramas, traumas, and we start from zero. That was profound, right? So I acknowledged my mind. I said, you are brilliant. and I love you. Thank you so much for this information. But how about from this moment on, we all respect our space? You do your thing, and I continue with my walk. And my mind appreciated that and respected that because I had respect for the mind, and I continued on my walk, enjoying being fully present with everything, looking at the trees, looking at the flowers, looking at the nature, the energy and the love that they were giving to me, and this love making between me and the nature, that we were going back and forth and exchanging energies and frequency. And I enjoyed my walk, right? So basically, what I'm saying is, if you and I are after freedom, we cannot experience and feel freedom until we recognize the mind, we see it as a magnificent tool, and we have respect and love for our mind. And we only have to allow it in our experience every single day with whatever story the mind is creating. We let it do that, but then again, we stay non attached to the story that the mind creates. Are you guys with me? Imagine you are doing the practice of thought cut silence, but every once in a while, you forget to do that exercise, or somehow you get distracted, or your mind will start telling you that, as we all know, the mind is the biggest trickster, and the mind comes and say, listen, I have this amazing story to tell you. And you get fooled again, and you start listening to the story. Once you listen to the story, the mind makes that story to become your reality. The mind is constantly creating our reality, right? So the minute I look out there and I see the mind has created this story, it creates this character, and this character is very charming, which most of the time, one of the way we get tricked is when the mind makes us emotionally very attracted to a character. And I have always said that. I said one of the ways that we enter a lesson is when I get tricked by the mind, and it says, look at this beauty, look at, in fact, the mind is still saying, look at me, what I can create. So if you're a, I don't know, male or a female, it could be the most beautiful angel you have ever seen in your life, or the most handsome guy that you have seen, or you get fooled and dropped by the prestige of this character and you get into it. So at that moment, I catch myself and I said, oops, I did it again. I did it again. I did again what? That, but by not being on the practice of thought cut silence, I got into the movie. And then at that moment, I separate myself again from the movie that's playing on the screen. So this dance of going in, coming back, going in, coming back, going in, coming back, this itself is conscious, is being conscious. That the minute I find myself, that I enter this 3D, that I enter this matrix, that I got into this movie, being conscious is right away I pull myself back. And maybe that's why sometimes you hear me that I say, hey, you don't have to play a role in this film. And this is a choice that a conscious person can make 100 times per day, that I do not enter this movie. I want you to see life as a screen now. You and I are sitting in a movie theater, and life is playing itself on a movie screen. Do you see? Let that really sink in. Do you see that your life story, your ex husband, the one who has cheated you, the one who has betrayed you, can you see that on a screen? And wake up and become conscious that, oh, that's just a movie screen. To stay conscious is to wake up to the truth that our whole reality is only made up in our psyche with the help of mind and ego. Now let's get back to our topic, freedom. Could you feel free? I don't care how many tools they give you out there. Do this and that and that. You want to gain your freedom? I give you 5 tips or 8 tips or 28 tips for you to have freedom. Nonsense. Why? Because all of those tools that you're receiving from outside and from expert is just teaching you how to play better in this movie. Wake up, people. Please write this down in the comment for me. Write it down in the comment for me. All of those tools that I receive from outside is just teaching and guiding me how to play better on the movie screen that is fake and unreal in the first place. Write it down. Write it down, Sadaf. Everything, every tools that you get from the expert out there is only telling you how to play better on the movie screen, which is fake and unreal anyway. And let me ask you this. If you're still think that your mind and your thoughts, and you're not able not to get engaged with the mind, how could those tools help you out? Very good, Saba. I love you. Let me pin your. Yes. So, how successful would you be? Is a trick over a trick. And remember, guys, when we are going to awakening, none of those tools that you got, none of those books that you have read, all of those lectures and seminars that you have attended, you cannot carry them with you. Ding dong. I've been saying that for many, many, many years. Whatever information you get from outside, it has to go through the conscious mind to the gatekeeper, to the subconscious mind. Therefore, most of those information is not going to be useful because in your 5% of conscious mind, as you're hearing and you're learning, the information that you're getting from your conscious mind is not the totality of the information. Next is going to go to the gatekeeper. The gatekeeper is going to look at those information and make a decision on your behalf if those information are usable. Did you get those information before? Is it accessible? And then the gatekeeper make a decision if it wants to allow those information to go to the subconscious mind. Are you with me? Okay. So at the end, let's suppose that your 5% of conscious mind comprehend and digest all of those information. And then it goes through the gatekeeper. Let's suppose that the gatekeeper allow all of that information to go to the subconscious. And then in your subconscious mind, once all those information is being registered, it means nothing because this new information that you're receiving, when it goes to the subconscious, is just going to go to all of those files that subconscious has already recorded and filed up from the time you were 6 months old in your mother's womb. And then you're at the mercy of your subconscious mind, how your subconscious mind is going to use or not use that information. Are you guys with me? Do you get me? So at the end, let's suppose that your goal, as our topic today, is freedom, to gaining freedom. Who and what is it that's looking and wanting this freedom? Ask yourself that. Question the one who has the intention to be free. The next question is, why aren't you free? Who is the one that creating or stopping you to feel the freedom? Ding dong. Are you with me? The one who's telling you that you are not free and you're not experiencing freedom is nothing but our old friend, mind and ego. Now, contemplate on this, sit in it, and let it digest. I'm not looking for freedom because I don't see myself not being free. Why are you looking for freedom? Sit in this. Whatever you're desiring out there, whatever is lacking in your life right now, whatever drama, trauma, pain, wound that you have been experiencing and you are still experiencing, ask yourself, where is this being created? I tell you guys, it doesn't matter how you go about it. You come back to the mind and ego. Do you hear me? The whole creation is your mind and ego. So your desire for freedom is just showing me that you haven't chosen to awaken to your truth that who you are is not your ego and the creation of mind. So when I ask myself 100 times per day, who am I? 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 The minute I ask myself who I am, a new consciousness arises that I am not who I have thought I have been. Who am I? I am the spiritual being coming on earth school to experience how is it to be human, how it feels to be human, to have an earthy experience. Is that who I am? Nope. Who I am, repeat myself again. I am an internal, awakened, whole soul who's coming on planet Earth just for a change to experience something else. But that character that's being created and built on planet Earth, the whole package is created by an ego. Until one day I wake up and I realize, oops, I've been tricked by the biggest trickster, which we call the mind. I hope this life has helped you to understand anytime you have the urge to become something, you've been tricked. Can you please write this down in the comment for me? Every time I think I have the intention, the desire, the intention to become something, I have been fooled. Because the real me, the enlightened whole soul, does not need to become something. Every time you think that you need to be healed, every time you feel that you are broken, realize that you have been fooled, and this is the ego and mind. The wounds, the traumas, the dramas, the whole storyline, the lack, the becoming, not loving myself, feeling unworthy, not being deserving, not being enough, all of this beautiful package is created by the mind and ego. And guess what? The mind and ego are selling you this package every single day. Hello? Is anybody out there? Anybody's awake to hear this message? Every single day. The ego and the mind brilliantly doing a fantastic job every single day. They say, knock, knock. I have a new package delivered for you. And you, like a fool, get tricked again and purchase the package. Day after day, you're purchasing the same old package from your mind and ego. And you're hoping that today, by surprise, you're going to receive a different package. And you're praying to God and you're praying to angels, the higher being, all the UFOs, and all the other external light beings for a different delivery, not knowing. The Creator, God, universe does not give you anything. So stop begging. Let me repeat myself one more time. The God, the creator, the universe is not giving you anything, is not handing you anything. So stop begging and wake up to your truth of who you are. You are the creator, and it is your responsibility, and only and fully your responsibility, to wake up to your truth and understand who you are and know that the whole creator is you. Previously, I was doing a live about Iran, how we're looking and they're looking. We've been looking and looking for many, many years for the freedom to finally arise. And the question is, for 47 years, the ego and mind has been knocking, and every single day has been giving us and selling us the same old package. And we unconsciously, being in deep sleep, every day we accept the old package that we hated. And the only thing we did is to complain, to nag, to get anger, to talk about injustice. And like this is not bad enough, some of our influencers sit there and they tell you that they are our problem, and you buy that. Not only you buying the damaged package of your ego and mind every single day, but in hope of learning something else, you go and listen to someone else. This is the movie of Dumb and Dumber. Have you seen the movie of Dumb and Dumber with Jim Carrey many, many years ago? If you think and you follow some influencer to feed you and learn something out there from there, including myself, they can just sell you any garbage. And that garbage that you're buying from them is just as bad as the garbage that your ego and mind is selling you every day. So let me break the news to you guys. There are no savior. There's no one out there who's going to come and save you. You are your only savior. And the only reason you are not, because you have chosen to still stay asleep. And that's totally okay. It's not the intention from anybody or the universe or any souls to choose to awaken this time and this. That's perfectly okay. But then stop nagging. You can choose to stay asleep. That's fine. But stop nagging and stop sending negative energy out there. At least you can do that, can't you? Probably not. And let me tell you, let me add this, guys. Even though I'm saying that a lot of souls have not chosen to wake up at this lifetime, I have to tell you, one of the mistakes that I made for many, many years was that I was forcing everyone to wake up. Ding dong. That was my downfall. Not accepting and respecting the path that many, many, many souls have chosen to stay asleep. The reason they're choosing to stay asleep is maybe for me to wake up and realize, oh, that's how being asleep look like. And that's how people who are asleep acting. So I finally gave up. I realized, even though at this time my goal and the plan has been to play this role of a spiritual leader, it is not for me to wanting to wake up anybody else. if it's not the intention. Why? I tell you why. Because a lot of people have chosen to be at the acting and reacting and experiencing at a different soul level. Maybe some of them, some souls are here to keep repeating a abandonment issue. And that's also divinely planned. So who am I? Want to wake up somebody who has chosen consciously and awarely before they come down here to get into the cycle of abandonment wound. They want to go through that. Talking about freedom. Who am I to take someone's freedom, to wanting them to wake up? That's my intention, but it's not their intention. Let's contemplate on this. Once I came to this awareness, I realized that the whole world, which is a whole creation of my mind and ego, is none of my business to choose or make a decision or to give unsolicited advice for anyone how to be or what to do. My goal is, when I'm doing live, talk about the information that's been downloading and channeling, where it goes and how it goes and who takes it or not take it is none of my business. In my private coaching session, I do the same thing. Whether they're issuing with cancers, whether it's a relationship issue, whatever it is, I ask them and give them this offer. Would awakening be interesting to you? If they say yes, I lead it in that direction. If they say no, I just want to use you psychically and get an answer from you that momentarily and temporarily going to make me feel good. Oh, I remember something. A couple of weeks ago, somebody had a session with me, and she said that she was diagnosed with cancer, but it was a very mixed message. Yes, it is. No, it is not. Yes, we find we see a little thing, but we don't know how where it's going to go and how we have to treat and blah blah blah. So she got a 1 hour session with me. I asked her at the beginning. I said, I know you're dealing and your experience is this confusion of cancer is there, no, is not there, where maybe we want to protect you for the future. It will become something. I understand what the outer reality is. But would you like to get to the root of this, where this, whatever confusion has happened, is the root of it? And she said, yes. So I broke her session into 15 minutes. And I said, go back, contemplate on this, and see how it feels. And then whenever you're ready, you ask for the rest of your session. Few weeks later, they notify me that she wants to have the rest of her session. And then she had another 30-minute session with me. And then I asked again at the beginning, would that be your intention? And she said, yes, it is. But during the whole time, I know that I'm not hearing the truth. So finally, a couple of days ago, she had the remaining of her 1 hour lesson. And we went through all of this and what is underneath all of this. And we covered all of these. And then at the very, very end, I said to her, I said, by the way, it's not a cancer. She got so happy out of joy and everything. And she said, that's exactly what I wanted to hear. I said, I know. And you're probably going to ask me, why the hell didn't you tell me this in the first day? Why did you break down my 1 hour session into so many mini sessions? I said, you probably ask yourself that. But that's the process that I want to take you to each time, give you another chance. Do you want to wake up or not? Are you guys with me? Do you know what I'm saying? Ooh, so many messages. Are you guys with me? Yes. So please take a deep breath. Breath. Inhale and exhale. Let's all of us become conscious for only 2 minutes and ask ourselves, who am I? And I would like you to bring this to your daily practice. 100 times, if that's what it takes at the beginning, drop and interrupt yourself in middle of whatever you're doing and ask yourself the question, who am I? The minute you ask yourself, who am I? The second step, the second part is to become aware that you are a conscious, enlightened, whole, awake master soul who came on planet Earth to only have human experience. And whatever it comes after who I am, it is not you. This is the only truth. And until you get to the truth to realize that whatever comes after who I am or after I am would be your ego and your mind, you have not reached the truth. So please keep on asking yourself, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? And each time realize who I am is a spiritual, enlightened master who came here to have a human experience. And that's all it is. Next, whatever comes after I am, including your name, gender, whatever it comes after that is the ego and mind. So, two things. Awakening, it's not a permanent destination that you arrive. There is no arriving. Awakening and enlightenment is a spiritual path that is never ending, is a spiral. If you are not consciously choose to stay awake, you're going to go right back to sleep. So everything on the screen, the movie screen, as you see in your life, is created by the mind and ego. Watch the screen. See, when I was 2 years old, this happened. When I was 5 years old, this happened. When I was my ex and my divorce and my outcoming and my pain and my cancer, everything that you know as your life story, see it on a movie screen. Separate from yourself and know and be aware and conscious that whatever you're seeing there is being created in the mind and ego. And from that point on, you choose, do I want to play or I don't want to play? Every door that opens is a class. You choose, do I want to enter this class or not. You don't need to enter these classes. You choose. For me, myself, personally, I am choosing to be a student of life, to do the practice of thought cut silence and seeing my ego and all of its beautiful faces 24/7. I know that my learning will never end. I know that I am a full time student of life, and I have taken make that choice to stay a student of life forever and ever and ever. Right? Okay. And I choose every day that the doors that are opening, I don't have to enter them. I do whatever the universe present to me. If it's a live, I go live. If it's a client, I do that. If it's a retreat, I show up for my retreat. But beside that, I choose not to play the game. What is your choice? You want freedom? Freedom does not happen while you're asleep. Freedom happens when you wake up and you choose to stay awake. I love you, beautiful souls. You are doing wonderful. I am so proud of you. Guys, please love yourself and be proud of yourself. I am telling you, the creator, the divine, all the enlightened masters, they all know how tough it is to come down here and live here. I am, as a representative of the upstairs, the divine, I am telling you that everyone is so proud of you. You are doing fantastic. Please keep on going. You're doing a fantastic job. And don't let anybody fool you. Awake or unawake is your choice. I love you. Till next time. Bye bye. Goodbye. Goodbye. Bye bye, everybody. Goodbye.